Leon was a useless, lonely, disgusting loser who spent all his time playing a dating simulator video game since he couldn't talk to real women. But one day, he died and reincarnated into the world of his video game with all the memories of his past life. Before he knew it, he had become the wealthiest guy in the world and had an island all to himself with the greatest cheat abilities known to mankind, making him the most dominant player in the entire world. But when he woke up, wondering where he was, a man punched him on the head, asking why he ran away from home. As the years passed, Leon discovered that he was an extra in the video game, a fucking invincible character, and basically a nobody with a family of nobodies. So he spent most days working the farm and carrying bags of fertilizer so he could stay fit and strong for war. However, one day, Leon was told that he must marry a 60-year-old grandma who had basically murdered 7 of her previous husbands and was looking to make him the 8th dude she would strangle in his sleep. Or better yet, send him off to war and take what was left of his lonely broke ass. When Leon began saying that he would rather hook up with a hot girl at the academy, Zola told him that they could not afford it. Luckily, since he knew the entire game world, Leon decided to become the richest man that ever lived, and to marry the hottest girl in the academy. And a few days later, Leon went sailing through the sky. After seeing a skyfish flying towards his boat, Leon remembered it from his video game and shot it with his rifle, dispelling it in that instant. While looking through his compass, hoping to find the right direction, Leon came across a magical tornado, known for its teleportation across their world. After Leon lowered his boat to the ocean, it was thrown up into the tornado, and as soon as it was drawn in, it began ripping apart from the force of the wind. With nothing left to grab hold onto, Leon was sucked into the void. As Leon woke up, he tried finding where he was, but suddenly fell off the tree. After standing, he began heading into an abandoned facility, remembering that he had been here several times in his video game, so he thought it would be easy finding gold. While going through the facility, he spotted a sentry robot and immediately hid himself, loading a magic bullet into his rifle and fired at the robot, causing its power to shut down. Leon entered a room and found the skeleton of a scientist, so he decided to take its ID for himself. As he scanned the ID, a door opened, leading him into an abandoned spaceship that Leon purchased in his previous life. He scanned his ID on the ship, powering it up immediately. Deep within the spaceship, Leon found the control room, and as he went in, a killer robot appeared before his eyes, calling him an intruder. As it moved closer to him, Leon shot it with his rifle, but the bullet ricocheted off the wall. Leon decided to show his ID, telling the robot that he worked here. But after a quick scan, the robot began calling him an intruder again. As it attacked Leon with a powerful swing, he swiftly dodged its attack and began running away. The bot tried pounding him, but Leon jumped away and threw a magic bullet at it, but the robot was unscathed. The bot decided to create a magical barrier, and as Leon fired his rifle, the bullet was sucked by the shield. Afraid of getting caught, Leon decided to throw a grenade, which erupted into a nasty explosion. As he celebrated with a smile, thinking the bot was pulverized, the robot's arm went through the smoke and caught him, electrifying him in that instant. The bot told him that it was programmed to eliminate all humans and began squeezing him, causing him to cough up blood. However, Leon decided to draw his sword, and as he fired the blade towards the robot, it impaled its head instantly. The bot began electrifying, and after spinning, it exploded into a plume of smoke. Leon started leaving, and as he arrived at the control system, the automated voice recognized him as the new commander of the ship. But Leon began falling to the ground from his severe injury, and continued coughing up more blood. As he laid on the floor, ready to die, he hoped to never reincarnate into another video game. At Leon's home, Zola told Balkis that Leon was better off abandoned, as he'd been gone for days. But as soon as she let out those words, Balkis noticed a spaceship outside, and hurried out to see who it was. Leon began waving at them from his ship, glad to have finished his quest, and smiled at the amount of treasure he got. That same day, he told them that he wouldn't be marrying Zola's old witch of a friend, and began attending the academy, with hopes of getting a girl to warm his bed at night. At the academy, Leon was beginning to make new friends, and wondered if they would invite any girls over to their hookup parties the following week. However, his friends were every bit of a sore, disgusting loser like he was, and their chances of getting laid was 0.0%. While they were groaning at their single, lonely, horrendous lives, they saw Angie, the hot antagonist from Leon's video game, as she was speaking with the prince. Angie wondered why the prince, who was her betrothed, was hanging out with a fucking wench. But the prince told her to mind her fucking business and began to leave. Leon thought this was strange, because in his video game, the prince was meant to protect the protagonist from danger, which the wench wasn't. In the class, the teacher began telling the students why hookup parties were important, and that their first plot development would help them decide if they were a match or not. However, Leon was already bored to death and only thought of returning to his island. When the teacher summoned him, he swiftly stood up and walked to the front, determined to look brave. But after a few minutes of man-to-man, Leon realized that the hookup party was the most important evening in the life of a young aspiring husband, and promised to keep it holy like the Sabbath. That evening, Leon set up a fine dinner, looking to score with the beautiful daughter of a lord. But when she arrived, Leon realized that she came with her whole useless parade, a group of ugly-looking misfits that shattered his hope of plot development to dust. After a few minutes of ravaging Leon's dinner, they told him that they were leaving for another sucker's party, because apparently, they only came for his food, leaving him looking dejected. In the corridor, a group of seniors were teasing a fresher, telling her that she didn't belong in the academy, and ripping her papers apart. After Leon realized that she was the protagonist in his video game, he decided to invite her into his room. As they were having tea, Olivia confessed to Leon that she felt bad for enrolling at the academy. She had hoped to learn magic here, but could not go a day without someone pulling her hair. When she began to cry, Leon promised to help her out. After all, he had partnered with the sponsors of today's video, Project Orochi, a Japanese streetwear brand that blends Japanese art and mythology with subtle nods to games like Apex Legends and Dark Souls. If you are a lover of games and amazing streetwear that will make you cooler than Gojo, then Project Orochi offers you a variety of options to choose from, with a collection of wear from casual hangout to date nights that lead to plot development. Project Orochi is building a real community of people who love this style, and their Instagram has giveaways and discussions about upcoming designs. They are also building out a Discord community which could help you find yourself some gaming buddies, and for every purchase you make on their website, you get free shipping across the United States. They are currently running their Black Friday sale, with 25% off until Friday midnight and bigger discounts on select pieces. So what are you waiting for? Click the link in my description to order the coolest streetwear on Project Orochi, and use my personal code ANISLAYER to get a sweet 10% off everything. Because while you'll be rocking the most fabulous streetwear in the entire world, Leon would still remain a worthless, ugly, lonely, wretched loser whose useless face could never get a girl. So the next day, Leon and Olivia met his sister, who was a senior, and she told Olivia to buy Angie a fancy gift and become a member of her filthy sorority. Olivia began freaking out at the thought of buying a gift she could not afford, so Leon offered to pay for it. After a few days, Leon and Olivia prepared for a task into the caves for their physical training, but Leon was pissed off at having to do the dirty work for the royal schmucks of the academy, who were all friends to the prince. While he was screaming his frustration, Angie arrived, wondering why the little wench was still following her prince like a disgusting pet. However, the prince put out his arm to protect the girl, allowing her to hide behind him and clutch onto his arm like a leech. Soon, the royal schmucks of the academy arrived and decided to leave with the prince, heading for their own cave. Inside the cave, Olivia found a crystal and thought of selling it for money, but Leon merely ignored her, having already hidden more treasure than he can spend. He began going deeper into the cave, looking for a monster to flex his muscles with. As they arrived at a large well of crystals, they found huge insects standing before their eyes, ready to attack them. Leon drew his sword, and as he ran towards them, he began slashing them to dust. When it was over, Olivia wondered how he learned to fight, so he told her that he's been training himself for war. As a monster bat flew towards Olivia, Leon put his arm in the way and was bitten by it. While enduring the pain, he drew his blade and stabbed it, turning it to dust in that instant. Leon knelt on the ground with a wounded arm, but more insects began appearing. However, the prince and his entourage appeared behind them, ready to save the day, and began slaying the rest of the insects. After it was over, the wench, Marie, decided to heal the prince's wound with magic. Just as she finished, Angie came rushing to him, but he put her aside and began leaving with Marie. At the same time, Olivia began healing Leon's wound with magic, but Leon wondered why Olivia wasn't following the prince like it was in his video game. The next day, two students grabbed Marie's stuffs and threw them into the fireplace, but when Julius asked Angie about this incident, Melonplot said that she knew nothing about what happened. Julius said that she was a lying piece of shit, and that she should stay far away from him and Marie because their union was nothing but an arranged marriage to maintain peace in the kingdom. Back at the dorms, Leon's friends were feeling down over the news of some hot girls that had gotten married recently, and the boys wondered when they would stop being horny bachelors. Leon wasn't bothered at all, and he went out to meet Livia instead, asking her what she knew about Marie. But Livia didn't like the question because she thought that he was crushing on Marie. Leon quickly said that he could never date an ugly midget like her, so Livia told him that she had only ever talked to Marie once since the beginning of school, and that Marie had yelled at her for no reason. Leon was trying to figure out what it meant when he suddenly heard voices in the library, and when the both of them got up to check who it was, they were shocked to see Marie kissing one of Julius's friends. She walked out of the library feeling like a baddie for tricking the rich boys, but then Julius suddenly appeared with his best friend Jilk saying that they wanted to get her a servant to help her out with schoolwork. But when Angie heard about this, she broke down crying because she knew that Julius had fallen in love with Marie despite her giving her entire life to serving the prince and becoming his bride. Meanwhile, just as he was about to wake up, Jenna barged into Leon's room asking if he knew about a girl named Marie. So Leon told her how he caught Marie locking lips with one of the rich boys inside the library. She told him that Angie wasn't actually responsible for burning Marie's stuffs the other day, and that it was probably a couple of her fans that got mad and took matters into their own hands. However, Jenna warned him to stay away from Angie or Julius because pissing off the prince could have serious consequences and cause his stupid ass to return back to being a farmer. Leon agreed to take her advice, and at the royal ball to celebrate the end of the semester, he and his guys tried to cop some baddies, but they were beaten up by the servant for acting like simps. Meanwhile, Angie confronted the prince and his friends saying that Marie was making out with all 5 of them. But Melon Plots was surprised when the guys said that they were aware and okay with it. They all began to confess their love for Marie, but Julius made all the girls cream their plot armors by saying that he loved Marie the most and that no one else can take her place in his life. Shocked by this statement, Angie threw her glove at Marie, telling her to pick it up so that the both of them could fight. But her plan quickly backfired when Julius and the others agreed to fight her in place of Marie. Angie looked around for anyone who was willing to fight for her, but the students wanted no smoke with Julius, and Leon knew that Angie's life would turn into a shit show if nobody stepped forward to defend her. So without thinking twice, he walked up to the rich brats telling them that he was going to fight for Angie in the battle, and everyone was surprised that a low-class noble like him was bold enough to challenge the prince. Angie said that if she won the fight, Marie would have to stay away from the prince forever, and Marie said if she and her squad of hot boys won, Angie should donate her melons to a fruit farm. Leon suggested that they have a robot battle at the school's arena, but his opponents thought that he was crazy because there was no way in hell that he could defeat all of them on his own. However, Leon told them not to get so cocky just because they belonged to a higher rank than him, and he threw the dirty glove at Julius's face before telling all of them to bring it on. On getting back to his room, Leon saw that his walls were covered in graffiti art drawn by some of his haters, and when Luxian showed him the footage of the incident, he saw that Daniel and Raymond had also taken part in the crime. Later that day, Angie called him over to her room telling him to forfeit the battle before it was too late. But Leon said that he was still going to fight because he wanted to teach those rich brats a lesson for making all the girls fall for them. Angie thought that he was being crazy and she yelled at him to quit the match, but Leon said that he never backed down from a challenge, and he told Luxian to make him a special armor for the tournament. Everyone praised Julius and his pretty boy crew for having stylish transformer robots, and while Leon was trying to piss them off with his stupid gestures, he noticed that his friends had bet on him to win the match. Asking where the hell his own robot was, Leon told Angie not to worry. Then suddenly an oversized garbage truck landed on the ground, causing the students to laugh at Leon for being too broke to afford an actual Megazord. Livia wondered why everyone was laughing at his battle robot, so Angie told her that Leon's robot was an outdated model used during the 90s, which made it slow and useless compared to the Autobots that Julius and his friends had. However, Leon was confident in his abilities, so he activated the machine and prepared to fight his first opponent, Brad, who had a purple Megazord and was an expert in using magic. Brad started bragging about how his robot was forged using the best metals in the kingdom, but Leon told him to shut his mouth hole before pulling out a weapon from his backpack, which turned out to be a shovel. He yelled at Luxian for switching his sword with a farm tool, and everyone in the arena continued to laugh at his useless robot, while Brad accused Leon of doing it on purpose just to make fun of him. The boys introduced themselves, after which the refs gave the signal for the match to start, and Brad charged straight at Leon with his spear while deploying 4 drones to cause more damage. But Leon swiftly dodged all of his attacks like a pro before smacking Brad's robot to the ground with his shovel, so the refs announced that Leon had won the first round with a knockout move. Everyone in the crowd was so shocked that they had nothing to say, but Leon was very happy when he saw his instructor clapping for him, and Livia was also happy that he had won the first round. Although she was surprised that Leon's robot could move so fast despite being overweight, Angie was so glad to see the sad look on all the students' faces that she started laughing uncontrollably. Julius was getting worried about Leon's crazy robot, but the next opponent, Greg, walked into the arena with his Red Ranger Megazord, and he threatened to crush Leon's machine and send it back to the junkyard. The ref told the boys to start fighting, and Greg immediately started slashing his weapon at Leon without stopping. But Leon had more experience because he had played the game, so he whacked Greg to the ground with his mighty shovel. And because he hated him so much, Leon started ripping out the parts from Greg's armor piece by piece until the dumbass got out and tried to fight him without his robot like a sore loser. Leon was announced as the winner once again, and everyone was shocked that he had defeated Greg. But Livia wasn't happy with how Leon had treated his opponent, and she wanted him to apologize after the tournament. The next loser, whose name was Chris, stepped onto the stage, and when Leon realized that he was an excellent swordsman, he moved his machine away and allowed his drones to do all the work instead. Chris called him a coward for running away from a real battle, but when he tried slashing Leon's robot with his sword, Leon snapped the weapon in two, forcing Chris to surrender to him as his master. Jilk was the next one on the stage, and because he was desperate to protect the prince, he told Jenna to trick Angie and Livia into looking for Leon so that she could plant some bombs in his battle robot. When the girls finally found Leon, they told him how Jenna had said that he was too sick to compete in the next round. But Leon knew that his sister was a lying piece of shit, so he told them not to worry before walking away. Luxian appeared, telling him that Jenna had rigged his robot with lots of explosives while he was gone. But Leon knew that she had only done it because she was scared of Julius and the royal family. When the next battle began, Jill quickly threw a smoke bomb on the ground to prevent Leon from seeing his next move, and he flew up to the sky before firing a deadly missile at his opponent's robot. However, he was shocked when he saw that Leon was unaffected by the missile, so Jilk activated the magic spell that controlled the bombs, causing Leon's armor to explode in an instant. When all the smoke cleared, Jilk noticed that the ground was empty, and he was surprised to see Leon hovering just above him, but before he could even attack, Leon smacked his useless toy gun away. Asking why he was doing all this, Leon told Jilk that he wanted to kill Julius so that Marie would give up her fake act and show her true self. But Jilk said that he would never allow him to harm the prince. Tired of all the long talk, Leon deflected Jilk's weak attack before smashing him to the ground with a single strike. And Marie was freaking out because Julius was the only one left, and he was just a mama's boy compared to Leon. However, the prince promised to win the battle for her sake, and as he stepped into the arena with his superior combat machine, all the students in the crowd yelled out for him to kick Leon's ass. Annoyed by their words, Leon decided to make the first strike, but Julius blocked the attack with his shield, and he tried to damage Leon's robot with his sword as the crowd went wild with excitement. Julius supercharged his Megazord and was ready to destroy his opponent, so Leon stalled him a bit by asking why he wanted to be with Marie so badly when Angie was willing to love him forever. However, the prince said that Angie didn't know anything about him because she had been trained to serve him all her life, unlike Marie, who didn't care about his royal status and loved him truly. Leon called him a dumbass for leaving a hot baddie that every guy would literally die for to be with an ugly ass bitch. But Julius said that the only reason he was able to talk to him like that was because of his powerful robot. His words made Leon go full psycho, and he said that Julius had no right to lecture him about life because he and his guys had no idea how it felt to be constantly rejected by all the girls at school. Julius said that he was going to keep fighting for Marie's sake, and when Angie heard those words, she started crying because she knew that her prince was in love with another woman. Livia got up to defend her, saying that Angie had always loved him with all her heart, but Julius said that Marie was the only one for him, and he told Leon that he was going to keep on fighting until one of them drops dead. Fed up with his lame speeches, Leon mocked Julius, saying that the only way he could win the battle was if he used his royal authority as the prince of their kingdom to order him to lose on purpose. Angered by his words, Julius charged up his Megazord once again to destroy his opponent for good. But Leon used his Iron Man plasma blasters to shatter his battle armor to pieces. The crowd booed at him for playing dirty during all the battles, but Leon walked up to Angie, thanking her for giving him the opportunity to defeat Julius and his squad of rich brats. However, Livia said that he had only made things worse for himself because now all of the students hated him for making them lose their bets. But Leon said that he didn't give a rat's ass about any of them. Meanwhile, Angie went to the clinic to check up on Julius, and she told him that she loved him dearly, but when he asked her what his favorite food was, Melon Plots replied wrongly, saying that it was chicken soup. He told her that his favorite meal was grilled beef on a stick, which only Marie had been able to figure out, and that he had only pretended to like chicken soup because his parents forced him to. Angie was surprised to hear this, and Julius said that he would never love her even if she was the last person with a plot hole on Earth. So Angie just took the L and walked away without saying another word. Leon met up with Angie's dad, telling him to spare his family from all the mess that he had made by fighting the prince. So they agreed that he would be expelled from the academy but not executed for his crimes. In exchange for his kindness, Angie's dad told Leon to take his daughter for a vacation on his private island. But on the way there, Angie kept feeling like she was responsible for all of Leon's problems. They made a quick stop at his parents' house, and Zora was about to kill Leon for embarrassing the family name, but then Angie appeared, saying that Leon has saved her life, so the old hag decided to act nice for a change. When they got to Leon's island, Angie and Livia decided to test out the private bathhouse, and they stared at each other's rounded features before talking about whose melons Leon would prefer. He saw them rubbing each other's skins like horny and Leon wanted to hit so badly. But Livia said that she was keeping herself for the right guy, and Angie said that she was too much for him to handle. She also said that she felt bad after everything that happened because she still wanted to get revenge on Marie. But Leon said that the best way to get revenge was for Angie to become the best version of herself. He told her that there was no joy in making life miserable for other people and that she would only find true happiness by becoming a better person, so Livia agreed to help her out with this mission. Meanwhile, Marie's life was already crashing down as Julius and all of his friends decided to give up their royal titles and future riches just to be with her forever. Despite beating up the prince and all his friends, Leon was given a higher noble rank for his bravery, which meant that he could return to the academy, although all he ever wanted was to live the simple country life. Luxian told him that Marie and all of her husbands had left school and become adventurers to avoid going broke, and Leon was happy to hear that his ops had finally gotten what they deserved. A couple weeks passed and it was finally time for the annual school festival, so Leon and his friends made plans to set up a cafe to cash out on the opportunity while using Livia and Angie as bait to lure in horny guys. Leon's beautiful fantasy was ruined by the arrival of his annoying sister Jenna, who came to complain about a little quarrel that she was having with a friend of hers over a rich boy in their class. Jenna confessed that she was the one who had tried to steal the boy away from her friend, so Leon and the girls told her to get the hell out of their shop and she left the place feeling stupid. However, Daniel and Raymond arrived saying that there was bad news, and when they went out to check what it was, they were shocked to see that Julius and his crew were opening a coffee shop right next to theirs. Because of his influence, all the girls surrounded Julius's cafe, but Livia was terrified when she looked at their menu and saw that they charged $100 just for a freaking cup of tea. Julius said that he was going to win the battle this time around, but when Leon and the others walked into their cafe, they realized that the place was actually bar serving different types of PG grape juice. Brad and Chris were happy to see the look on poor Leon's face, and Marie suddenly appeared dressed in red, saying that the reason they had charged so high was because Julius and his rich friends were the attendants of the cafe. She told Leon to prepare for his downfall because none of the customers were going to show up at their cafe. But Leon said that he could never lose to them because he was trained in the art of tea parties by his instructor. Livia went out to do some free advertising for their cafe, but the stuck-up royal girls called her stupid for taking sides with Leon, and Livia was about to give up when suddenly a girl named Carla agreed to come to the cafe. On the opening day of the coffee shop, Leon was advising the team on how to treat their customers when the head teacher arrived, telling them that someone important was looking for Angie. She went out to meet the person but was shocked to see that it was the Queen of the Kingdom, Lady Mylene, disguised as a student, and the Queen said that she wanted to meet Leon in person. Thinking that she wanted to punish Leon for what he did to Julius, Angie told the Queen to blame her for everything instead. But Mylene said that she wanted to apologize to Leon for putting up with her idiot son. Meanwhile, back in the school hallway, a long line of fangirls gathered to see Julius and his squad at their cafe, while Leon's coffee shop was empty as fuck until a strange girl arrived with her servants. Mylene opened up the door to introduce herself to Leon but was shocked to see the girl treating him like garbage. And when Angie couldn't take it anymore, she walked up to the girl and lifted her with one hand before throwing her away. The girl, whose name was Stephanie, said that Angie was just a shitty noble who got her ass dumped by Prince Julius, and Angie was scared to give a comeback because Stephanie's family was stronger than hers. Livia stood up for Angie, saying that she was the most elegant lady she had ever met, but Stephanie told her to shut the hell up because no one was talking to her kitchen maid looking ass in the first place. Leon told her to take back her words, but he was slapped by one of Stephanie's manservants, and Mylene tried encouraging everyone to calm down, but Stephanie called her an old hag and said that she should shut the fuck up. Angie was about to tell her that she was speaking to the Queen when Leon went full psycho and took down all of her guards with a single punch from his fists of blinding fury. He told Stephanie that the woman she had insulted was actually the Queen of the Kingdom, Mylene, and Leon decided to take matters into his own hands by fighting everyone who was against her. Seeing that there was nothing else they could do to stop him, the girls invited Leon's instructor to the cafe, and the dumbass quickly mellowed down when his teacher arrived to make him some tea. When he got back to normal, Leon apologized to the Queen, saying that she should spare his family, but Mylene said that she was here to scold him about the rude way that he had fought against Julius and his friends. However, while she was saying all this, Leon couldn't help but marvel at her rare beauty, so without thinking too much, he held her hand, asking her to marry him so that they could run away together. His words made Mylene blush, but she told him that she already had a husband and kids, and as Leon was trying to convince her to leave them for him, Julius suddenly appeared and punched him away. Julius told his mom to stay away from Leon, saying that the guy was a greedy trickster, but Mylene said that Julius was the greedy one for selling drinks to students at such an outrageous price. She called him a pathetic waste of royal blood for allowing a little girl to dress him up like a slave and make him serve drinks to people, and Marie was sweating hard because she was scared of what the Queen would do to her. Meanwhile, back at his own cafe, Leon was feeling dumb for trying to seduce the queen when Livia's friend Carla suddenly walked into the coffee shop begging him to save her family from destruction. Lucian asked him why he had agreed to take on the mission from Carla, but Leon told him that he had no choice but to accept her request since the girl was friends with Livia. While Leon and his crew were tidying up the shop, Daniel and Raymond noticed that Livia and Angie were acting strange towards each other, so Leon decided to give everyone a day off to chill out. Just outside of school, a couple of students were excited when they saw that it was almost time for the bike race competition, and Angie told Livia that Jilk was one of the top contestants for this year. Asking why Leon wasn't in the race, Angie said that he was most likely to bet on the game instead, and when they got to the grandstand they saw Leon smiling like the devil while holding all of his cash. Meanwhile, on the track, Jilk was leading the race and Leon was happy because he had placed a huge bet on him to win the race. But then some of the racers started attacking his bike on both sides to make him crash. Using his amazing skills, Jilk was able to flip over the other racers and win the first round of the game. But when he landed at the pit stop, the guys there noticed that he was badly injured. They rushed him to the school clinic and Marie was busy crying because she was supposed to use the money that Jilk would win from the competition to pay for her tuition back into the academy. While Angie was thinking of a replacement, Jilk's ex-girlfriend Clarice walked into the clinic saying that she was the one who had told those players to attack him as payback for breaking up with her. Angie tried telling her to chill out, but Clarice said that she should focus on finding a new prince to marry her sorry ass instead, and she promised not to stop until Jilk's life was completely ruined. The dumbass said that he was going to continue the race, but Marie said that Leon should replace him in the contest because Angie would take the blame if no one from their class participated in the race. Angie didn't want him to stress over a silly contest, but because he knew that her family could chop his head off if he refused, Leon agreed to join the race in exchange for half of Jilk's earnings. When it was time for the final round of the game, Leon brought Lucian to the pit stop to pimp up his ride, and he met up with Daniel from the senior class, who was the fastest racer in their school. Daniel said that although he respected Leon, he was loyal to Clarice and had no choice but to kick his ass at the tournament because of how Jilk had broken her heart and left her to be with Marie. Leon knew that Daniel was only just trying to help Clarice get revenge, but he still planned on winning the race because he wanted to make everyone who had bet against him lose their money. When the race began, some of the players started attacking Leon just like they had done to Jilk, and the crowd kept cheering them on. But Leon's bike was superior to theirs and he knocked all of them away. Meanwhile, at the grandstand, Angie and Livia were feeling bad for all the hate that Leon was getting when Stephanie suddenly arrived saying that Leon would lose because he was a useless virgin. Angie said that she should fix her ugly ass face before picking on other people, so Stephanie got angry and tried to slap her, but Livia quickly held Angie to stop Stephanie from hitting her. Stephanie told Livia to stop trying so hard because no matter what she did, Angie would always see her as a dirty commoner, and she ran out of the room crying before Angie could say anything. Pissed off with what she had said, Angie bitch slapped Stephanie to the ground before jumping on top of her like the Hulk and beating the crap out of her while all the students tried stopping them. Back at the racetrack, Leon slowed his bike down for a little while to give the other racers a head start, before activating the nitros that Lucian had installed into his ride earlier on and passing all of them in seconds. He was tied with Daniel at the front, so Leon supercharged his nitro boosters to pass him and win the race, but all the students in the crowd were angry because he had made them lose money for betting on Daniel to win. However, all of that high speed caused his bike to explode and Leon was about to fall to the ground, so Daniel swooped in to catch him just in time, saying that he respected him for winning the race. Back at the clinic, Leon was grinning like an evil vampire because of all the money he had made from winning the race, and he said that Jilk still owed him a favor for replacing him in the contest. Marie's servant suggested that he make Jilk dance naked in front of all the girls, but Leon made Jilk apologize to Clarice for breaking up with her, and she slapped his stupid face when he said that he was in love with Marie. Daniel tried punching him as well, but Clarice held him back, saying that he shouldn't waste his fists on the useless scumbag, and they met up with Leon afterwards, thanking him for all that he had done. Leon told Clarice to focus on getting her life back together, but before he left, Clarice said that he should check up on Livia and Angie because things had gone crazy while he was on the racetracks. He found Livia sitting alone on a bench, so Leon sat right next to her, and when Livia asked him if she and Angie could ever become best friends, he said that it was hard because the both of them came from different social backgrounds. However, when Livia started crying, Leon told her to cheer up because Angie was a good person at heart, and that they would figure out a way to keep their friendship going against all odds. Later that night, while Livia was thinking of how to talk to Angie about what happened, she heard a knock on the door and was shocked to see Carla, who said that she wanted her to join the rescue mission as well. Livia politely said no, but then Stephanie suddenly appeared from the dark, threatening to destroy her and everyone that she cared about if she refused to accept their request. Although she was scared to talk back at her, Livia said that Leon and Angie were far too strong for her to take down, but Stephanie grabbed her hair and said that she was nothing but a pet to Angie. Livia said that she was a frickin' liar, but Stephanie told her to snap out of her daydream because she could never be on the same level with either Leon or Angie, who are high-ranked nobles. She said that Leon was probably just hanging out with her because he wanted to taste her chicken thighs after getting rejected by other girls at school, and Livia was too depressed to talk back. While Leon was packing his things for the mission, Luxian said that he was wasting his time helping a random student, but Leon told him that he planned on looking for an ancient item which would transform Livia into an irresistible goddess. And because he had played the game, Leon knew that Carla's request was just a fake mission set up by Stephanie to destroy Livia's career because Stephanie wasn't happy that a commoner attended the same school with them. However, because Julius and his pretty boy friends were a bunch of spineless losers, Leon decided to step in and protect Livia by himself, but Luxian said that he was preventing her from reaching her full potential. He went outside to see the futuristic airship that Luxian had built for him. But Leon was pissed when Carla invited Brad and Greg to help out with the mission, and the guys started arguing about who was a better fighter between all of them. Brad said that Carla was his ex-fiancée, which was why he agreed to tag along, but Leon called Greg a dumbass for thinking that he could fight off all their enemies with a single spear. Meanwhile at school, Angie walked up to Livia's room to give her a present but was shocked to see some ugly writing on her front door. And while she was thinking about who did it, Stephanie arrived with her crew of useless brats. Stephanie said that she was the one who made up the story about Carla's rescue mission just to put Livia's life in danger, so Angie grabbed her by the collar and nearly squeezed the life out of her before walking away to save Livia. Back at the airship, Leon played poker with his rich guests, and he scammed them of all their money by using a pair of magical shape-shifting cards which Luxian had made for him earlier on. Asking him to tell them about Carla, Brad said that she was a crazy bitch whose family had some of the strongest warriors in the country, and protected their kingdom from an S-rank villain known as the Dark Knight. Brad was ordered to marry Carla out of respect for their family, but the dumbass gave it all up after meeting Marie, which was why he agreed to help out with the mission to repay his debt to her family. While they were talking, two enemy airships arrived in front of theirs, and after seeing that his crew members were a bunch of pussies, Leon told them to watch the ship while he went out to fight. The enemy boss sent some robot soldiers to attack their victims, but he was surprised when Leon used his oversized dump truck to take down 3 of his best fighters in a matter of seconds. Brad and Greg watched in shock as Leon defeated 2 other robots like a heavyweight champion, and the enemy airships were forced to retreat before they got their asses kicked as well. However, Leon wasn't done yet, and he fired a bunch of missiles in their direction which blasted right through the enemy shields, destroying their ships and causing them to surrender to Leon. Asking him why he didn't just eliminate the thieves, Leon said that doing so would cause the kingdom to put their attention on him, which wasn't good for his plans since he was just a side character after all. When she heard that Leon had beaten up all the bandits, Carla began to freak out because she had no idea how she was going to explain to everyone that it was all just a crazy prank. When they got to Carla's house, Leon and the guys were immediately surrounded by a group of scary gunmen until her dad, Lord Wayne, appeared and told the men to lower their weapons because he was friends with Brad. But when Brad said that they were here because Carla had told them that her family was in danger, Lord Wayne was shocked by the accusation, and he asked his daughter to explain what the hell was going on. She quickly tried to put the blame on Livia, but Leon told Lord Wayne the truth about what happened, so Carla confessed to them that it was Stephanie who had forced her to go along with the whole plan. On the ride back home, Leon walked into Livia's room to check up on her, and he noticed that she was looking all gloomy. But when he tried moving closer, she pushed his hand away and asked him why he was always so nice to her. She asked him if he wanted to bend her over like a juice box straw, and Leon was so shocked that he couldn't even reply. But Livia said that she was probably just being delusional because she was too ugly for him to want her anyways. Livia broke down crying, saying that Angie and him were treating her like their pet rather than an actual friend, and Leon just kept on staring at her, wondering where it all went wrong. Later that night, Leon told Luxian what happened, and his AI assistant said that it was all his fault because he got so caught up in helping Livia that he prevented her from improving her skills in the process. Luxian said that he should take her as his pet dog and force her to chew on his hard bone. But Leon was so pissed that he punched the metallic piece of junk away. Brad suddenly walked through the door, but when he started practicing his sword slash, Leon asked him why he was doing that when he was obviously better at magic than sword fighting. However, Brad said that he was practicing how to use a sword so that he could finally defeat him in a battle someday. But Leon told him to just give up because he would be better off making money on OnlyFans as a male stripper. Brad ignored his statement, saying that he wanted Marie to recognize him more than the other guys, not just for his looks but also for his ability to fight and protect her from danger. Leon asked why he cared so much about a bitch who was ugly as hell. But Brad told him to take his words back, and the both of them were about to fight, so one of Luxion's machines brought out a pair of sticks to make things interesting. Not wanting to hurt him, Leon said that he wasn't going to fight, but when Brad slashed his weapon at him, he was forced to defend himself, and he realized that Brad was struggling to improve his skills because he was under pressure, which was what he should have allowed Livia to do. He smacked Brad's sword just as the loser was about to land the finishing strike, and Brad promised that he would keep training every day until he was able to defeat him, before walking out of the room. Meanwhile, Marie and her butler were searching everywhere for the lost items that belonged to Livia, but they ended up pissing off the SS rank Calamity that was dwelling inside the dungeon. At the royal palace, Julius talked to Jilk about his plan to escape from the castle and meet up with Marie, so they submitted a letter to Queen Mylene asking for money to buy some dark clothes for a robbery. But when the queen read their letter, she felt sad knowing that her son and his friends were the biggest idiots of the century, and she sent her servant to decline their stupid request. While Leon and the others were having breakfast, Luxion told them that a group of bandit airships were flying towards their own, so Brad and Greg begged Leon for the chance to fight with him this time around rather than doing nothing. Livia was still feeling bad for how she had spoken to Leon earlier on when she suddenly heard loud explosions from outside and saw that their ship was being ambushed by enemy vessels. She saw Leon flying bravely in his garbage truck to face them, but when he was knocked down by one of the robots, Livia rushed out of her room to help him but was blocked by 2 robot guards sent to protect her. However, Livia used her siren powers to deactivate the robots, and she ended up standing face to face with the evil robot lord who wanted to snatch her, until Brad arrived just in time to push him aside. He tried telling Livia to run away, but Megatron got back up and started beating the shit out of Brad while Leon struggled to defeat his robot henchmen because he was too weak to kill them off instead. Luxion told him that Livia was under attack by the evil robot lord, and he rushed over to save her, but then he noticed that Brad and Greg were already helping out, so Leon decided to allow the real video game heroes save the day. But when Megazord pinned both of them down and was about to hurt Livia, Leon cranked up his power to the max and used his axe to smash his enemy's armor into bits until the Baldy begged for mercy like a little girl. Leon flicked him away like a worthless insect, and he picked up one of the lost items that the bandits had stolen. But Livia stared at him and wondered what had turned him into such a ruthless fighter. She rushed over to heal Brad, who was surprised to see that she and Marie had the same type of healing powers. And when Leon saw them together, he smiled and said that they were meant for each other. Livia was shocked by this statement, but Leon just ignored her and carried Brad into the ship, while Livia just stayed behind crying because Leon no longer looked at her the same way. He smiled at all the gold that they had seized from the bandits, and Luxion said that he had found the documents which proved that Stephanie was the mastermind behind the whole mission scam. Asking why he was treating Livia like shit, Leon told Luxion that it was for the better because she was the main character of the story according to the game, and he was nothing but a useless side piece always watching from the shadows. Back at the castle, Brad and Greg were shocked when they realized that Leon had given up all the money to them and told everyone that they were the ones who had actually defeated the bandits. And because of this fake story, both guys were allowed to come back to the academy, while Queen Mylene and her guards captured Stephanie before the ugly-ass swine could run away from school. Because of everything that had happened till now, Leon decided that it was best for him to stay away from either Livia and Angie, while both girls struggled to get their friendship back to normal. When he got to his dorm room, Leon saw a letter from Brad and Greg stating that they had asked the palace to upgrade his royal status once again, and Leon was annoyed because he was perfectly fine being a useless nobody. He also got a letter from Clarice's dad thanking him for helping his daughter with her heartbreak and giving him another promotion after he was done with school, in addition to a brand new bike. Daniel and Raymond met Leon to congratulate him on getting promoted, but he told them that it was a bad thing because now all of the girls wanted to be with him just because of his higher status. The guys told him to stay positive because he could find love during the academy's field trip, but when they also told him to patch things up with Angie and Livia, Leon pretended not to hear what they were saying. At the airship, Leon looked forward to rizzing up some fine shotties, but he got angry when he saw all the girls going crazy over Chris, and he wished that he and the others would just get married to Livia already. Later that night, the students got dressed up to attend the festival, and Livia wished that Leon and Angie could have been with her. But when she walked up to the temple, she was shocked to see Leon milking his sausage by the shrine.
Ugh. Brother, ugh. What's that? What's that, brother?
Angie also arrived, and the goddess of the temple invited all of them to make an offering and pray for whatever they wanted, saying that the shrine was mainly used for relationships. However, Leon took things a little too far when he dropped 100 bands on the table and asked the gods to give him a wonderful harem filled with smoking hot girls with extra large melons. Angie knocked some sense back into his head, and they all prayed for each other to find lifelong partners, after which the goddess gave each of them good luck charms as a parting gift. Leon wanted to keep all the gifts for himself because he could sell them at a high price, but he decided to share them with Angie and Livia, who picked twin versions of the same charm. Leon ended up with a sword talisman which could make his combat skills 10 times better, and the goddess thanked them for visiting the shrine, but she didn't know that the three of them were no longer friends. The next morning, while Leon observed the weather, Chris walked up to him and said that they should have a sword fight so that he could take revenge for what happened to Brad. Leon said that it would be unfair because Chris was a skilled swordsman, but Chris said that he was just scared. So Leon told him to go and put his head on Marie's apples and cry to her like he used to. However, while they were arguing, the ship's alarm sounded and suddenly a group of scary monsters started flying towards them, and by analyzing the logo on their heads, Leon knew that the creatures were from the Phanos Dukedom. It was originally a big part of the kingdom until the leaders went rogue and turned to an independent nation, with a gothic crazy-ass bitch Sira Phanos serving as its princess and Grand Sage. Sira used a giant hologram to tell all the students that they had only 1 hour to decide whether to surrender peacefully and get captured or to face her powerful army and lose their lives. Leon wondered why this event was happening now, because according to the game it was supposed to happen several months later, and the leader of the army sergeant showed up to capture the students. But when Angie walked forward saying that they should take her and leave everyone instead, Leon tried stopping her, but he was held down by some senior students who were more concerned about their own lives. Seeing that he wanted to act tough, Gillette told the boys to kick Leon's ass, and when Livia tried yelling at the men to release Angie, one of the older female students slapped her in the face. The soldiers took Angie to their mothership, where she met with Princess Sira, who said that she was going to use her Legion of Calamity rank monsters to destroy the entire kingdom. She also said that Leon and Angie were the only ones dumb enough not to surrender to her army, which was why she had locked both of them up in prison cells with no food or water. Livia started crying because she was too weak to help her friends, and Chris walked up to the cell telling Leon to save them because Sira had told her men to kill every single student on the ship. However, Leon told him to go f*** himself because he was never going to help a bunch of spineless rich brats who stood back and did nothing while Angie was getting captured by enemy soldiers. With no other option left, Chris gathered everyone and began to give a powerful speech in the hopes of motivating them to fight back. But they all told him to get off the stage and run back to Marie. So Leon appeared with a shotgun in his hand, and he ordered all of the students to join forces and fight their enemies, unless they were nothing but a bunch of pussies with fancy royal titles. When she heard this, one of the senior students, Miss Rose, walked up to the podium and told him to apologize for insulting their families. But Leon said that it was true because he was more of a true noble than all of them combined. He said that she and everyone else were just riding on the many victories of their forefathers, and that if they truly wanted to be known as brave nobles, they should pick up a gun and join him in battle. However, Rose just smiled at his statement before raising up her hand fan, saying that the true test of a noble's strength was in the use of magic, and all the other students joined her to show off their magical elements. The guys yelled out that they were going to beat Sira and her goons, and Leon was happy to finally see them pumped up. But then Rose got carried away and started tripping for him in front of everyone. Leon wore his battle armor and was ready to lead the war, and Chris thanked him for not giving up on them. But before he left, Livia held his hand and made him promise to come back alive so that they could play strip poker together afterwards. Sira used her magic flute to control the monsters, and Leon zoomed off in his customized hovercraft to save Angie while blasting through all of his ops in one go like the protagonist from a sci-fi movie. Chris marveled at how awesome Leon was, and he gathered his team of robot warriors to protect the ship from danger while Rose and the other students helped them out by putting up magical barriers. Angie noticed Leon flying towards their ship like a brave prince, and Sira tried stopping him by using her flute. But Angie said that Leon could not be stopped because he was the strongest fighter in the kingdom. Rose and the other girls struggled to hold up the barrier while Chris and his Power Rangers kept on fighting off the monsters. So Livia decided to help out by healing the guys that were wounded. However, Sira's men aimed their launchers at them, but before the cannons could hit their ship, Livia unlocked God's divine power and covered the entire ship with a golden force field. She turned the force field into a giant disco ball and used the light rays to vaporize all the monsters, and Leon was happy to see that all of her hard work and studying had finally paid off. Leon activated his nitro boosters and zoomed into the mothership while Jellic kept on bragging about how his soldiers had defeated everyone in their school, including the famous Leon. However, at that moment Leon broke through the ground with his hovercraft and shot down all of the guards before knocking Jellic to the ground and pointing his gun at Princess Sira. Leon told her to surrender quietly or bend it over for him instead, after which he shot her maid and seized her magic flute while Luxian used a laser to permanently remove Jellic's mustache. He cuffed Sira and flew off in his cool air bike like a stuntman before the mothership collapsed, while Angie held on to him and kept on laughing as she remembered all the times that he got away with his crazy antics. When he woke up and saw what Leon had done to his face, Jellic got so pissed and told his soldiers to destroy everyone on the ship, saying that Sira's life was less important than winning the war. Sira reversed the hypnosis spell which she had used to control the monsters, and the creatures started flying towards their ship to get revenge on her for enslaving them all this while. Leon was confused on what to do, and because he didn't want Livia to use up all her mana by casting a protection spell again, He hopped onto his bike and tried to defeat all the monsters alone. Seeing that Leon was fighting hard to save all of them, Angie began thinking of how to help him out, and by using her temple charm she was able to create a bunch of flaming arrows to burn down the beasts. One of the creatures was about to swallow Livia, so Angie roasted the giant fish into tiny sushi pieces before rushing over to be with Livia, asking her why she didn't run when she saw the monster. Livia started crying and she said that she felt useless because she wasn't able to help them fight. But Angie told her not to feel that way because her force field was literally the most important part of their fighting strategy. Angie pressed her soft melons against Livia's hard apples and the both of them became friends again. But then a cannonball suddenly blasted their ship, causing Angie to fly off the ground and almost fall to her doom. She was barely holding on with one hand on the ship, and Angie thought of all the people that she would have apologized to if she had more time. But then Livia appeared to stop her from crashing to the ground. Angie yelled at her to let go because she could fall down as well, but Livia refused, saying that it was her duty as her best friend to always have her back no matter what. Angie was touched by her kind words, but then a second cannon made impact with their ship, and this caused the both of them to switch places, with Livia falling down to hug the floor instead. When he noticed this, Leon raced down immediately to catch her, but Livia began to enjoy being held in his warm hands. So Leon reminded her that there were better guys who could save her, including the prince and his friends. Livia yelled at him with tears in her eyes, saying that he was the only she wanted to be with. But Leon told her that it couldn't work out between the both of them because he was just a side character. Livia didn't care about all that, and she confessed that she had loved him ever since the day they met, and Leon was so shocked to hear this that he just stayed silent and took her back to the ship. Angie was happy to see Livia alive, but because they were still under attack, Luxian brought their giant spaceship to make the fight easy, and he used the plasma blasters to take down 2 enemy ships. Leon got into his robot and was ready to beat up everyone in his path, while Gillette was pissed off that they were losing to a freaking teenager, so he called out their strongest warrior, Vandal the Black Knight, to defeat Leon. Their spaceship sent out lots of rescue pods to save all the students who were trapped, and Leon was confident that they would win the battle until Luxian said that his next opponent was the Black Knight. He deployed his drones to attack Vandal, but the Black Knight sliced up all the drones and moved forward to attack him. So Leon tried blasting him with his gun, but Vandal quickly intercepted his move. He said that Leon was just a rookie when it comes to armored fighting, so Leon got pissed and kept his weapons aside before using his plasma blaster to destroy an enemy robot that tried to attack him. Vandal appeared in front of Leon and sliced open the chest of his armor, but when he tried hitting back with the sonic blast from his fist, the Black Knight quickly dodged the attack like a veteran pilot. Luxian told Leon that his armor was losing power, and that he should just retreat like a little pussy. But when he remembered the 2 baddies that were waiting for him to return, Leon decided to keep on fighting. However, Vandal kept on evading all of his attacks, and when Leon asked the old man why he wanted to defeat him so badly, Vandal said that he loved to beat up little kids with fancy armors who thought that they could fight him. Leon charged forward to make him eat his words, but then Vandal directed the sunlight at his face to blur his vision for a while before stabbing right through his armor with no mercy. Vandal thought that he had won, but then Leon got out of his armor and left Luxian in control of the machine, allowing him to point his rifle at the old man and force him to surrender. However, because Captain Beardless was a fucking crybaby, he decided to summon all the monsters in the entire universe to destroy everyone around, including his own soldiers and warships. But Leon was 10 steps ahead, and he commanded Luxian to activate a special satellite in space, causing thousands of lasers to rain down from the sky and destroy all the monsters. Both Vandal and Ciro were shocked to see this, but Leon told the old man to just retire already because no one would ever call his washed up ass for a battle again after losing to a high school kid. They used their large airship to capture all of the enemy troops, and Gillette begged Leon to let him go, but Leon told him to oil up both of his cheeks because they were going to lock him up in the same prison cell with Diddy. Later that night, when Leon tried going to his room, he saw that Angie and Livia were already sleeping on his bed, after waiting so long for him to come and put some cream on their cakes. Being a useless virgin, Leon decided to let the girls sleep. But then Chris suddenly walked up to him and praised him for defeating the Black Knight, saying that he would not stop training until he became as strong as him. The following day, Angie met up with her brother to talk about how they were going to punish Princess Sira, but he was more concerned about who Leon was going to marry, and he advised Angie to make her move on him. She later met up with Leon and Livia for a little tea party, and when Angie asked him why he had allowed Chris to take all the glory for their victory, Leon said that it would make his family respect him again. They noticed Luxian hovering next to him, and the ladies asked Leon what it was, so he told them that Luxian was his futuristic personal assistant who was capable of performing all sorts of tasks. Livia started teasing Luxian, calling him a wannabe Jarvis, but then Luxian told them that Julius and his crew were up to no good, as the idiots had combined all their armors to create an ultimate piece of trash called the Omega suit. Marie was shocked to hear that the prince and his dumbass friends had splurged almost $500,000 on a useless robot, but the guys were so confident in their abilities that they challenged Leon to another battle. Leon was ready to let them win and be with Marie forever because he realized that Livia was way too good for them anyways, and the boys agreed that Greg should be the one to fight against Leon using their combined armor. However, a few seconds into the battle, Luxian told Leon that Greg's shitty robot was about to explode because the guys had assembled it wrongly, and so they had to act fast to prevent him from dying. Leon tried warning the referee about this, but the man thought that he was just being a sore loser while Julius and the other guys were busy praising Greg for putting up a good fight against Leon. With nothing left to do, Leon blew up Greg's armor to pieces with his plasma blasters, and everyone was sad to hear that he had won again while Marie was losing her mind because the guys had literally just wasted her vacation money. The next day, while Leon was telling his friends what happened, Angie walked up to them and dragged him away, saying that it was time for the official award ceremony at the Academy Hall. Leon dressed up in a fancy royal attire in front of all of his friends and family members to receive the superior title of Viscount from his tea master in honor of his exploits in protecting the kingdom from Syrah and her crew. Julius and all the other high-ranking students had actually convinced the king and queen to upgrade Leon's status, and they happily clapped for him as he bowed down to receive his Medal of Bravery. But Marie was jealous of his achievements, and she swore to make her come back someday, while Leon looked sad after the ceremony, because his dream of living a quiet country life had been thrown into the mud. He met up with Livia outside, who reminded him that she was still madly in love with him up till now, and that she was patiently waiting for his reply, before running off to be with Angie. Seeing both girls waiting for him in front, Leon realized that he no longer had to leave the quiet life of a side character, and that it was okay to be a badass Viscount with two sexy shawties by his side. Set your heart ablaze, go beyond your limits, and watch this next video.